learn new information about the second apparent assassination attempt on Donald Trump in as many months. This is just coming in, too. President Biden tonight spoke on the phone with Trump. The White House describes the conversation as cordial, with Biden sharing his relief that the former president is safe, and then Trump thanking Biden for the call. And it comes as this man, 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Routh, is now facing 2 federal charges after a member of Donald Trump's detail noticed the muzzle of his automatic rifle poking out from the shrubbery along Trump's golf course. The FBI called the threat against the former president extremely serious, but the Bureau says it has no information that Routh was working with anyone else. We also learned today that phone data places the suspect at the golf course as early as 2 a.m. He was discovered at 1:31 p.m. The Secret Service says the suspect never took any shots, but where the gun came from is a big question tonight as we learn more about Routh's criminal history.
Welcome to Daily REW, the wildest ride on YouTube where we react to the most outrageous, mind-blowing viral videos and crazy news stories from around the world. Remember, these videos are for entertainment purposes only. So, buckle up, get your popcorn ready, hit that like button, subscribe, share, and let's get weird.
Jail, in therapy, and under brand new scrutiny. As Diddy faces another judge today, new questions about his alleged reign of terror are coming to light. The stunning allegation from prosecutors: Diddy once forked over $46,000 to cover damages to a penthouse after one of his drug-fueled so-called freak-offs. And today there's new speculation: a woman at the center of Sean's orbit and business empire could potentially hold the key to the prosecution. She is Christina Coram, seen here with Diddy in Florida in November after he settled his rape and abuse case with ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Diddy posted this photo of her to Facebook saying, "Christina, a.k.a. KK, keeps everything in my life and my business running. She's my right hand." In a separate lawsuit against Combs, music producer Rodney Jones used this same photo, calling Coram the Ghislaine Maxwell to Sean Combs' Jeffrey Epstein. She was referenced 64 times in that suit.
In the federal indictment just filed against Diddy here in New York, prosecutors allege Diddy did use his employees to, quote, carry out, facilitate, and cover up his abuse and commercial sex.
Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
Christina herself was not named in this criminal indictment, but could potentially be a key witness in this case. A source told the New York Post, quote, "If anybody is a gatekeeper, Christina would know everything."
The individuals that witnessed this conduct, or even hell, they should really be concerned, because if they don't cooperate, they may face the very real possibility of being charged as co-defendants.
Combs has denied every single allegation against him. Coram did not respond to our request for comment. This afternoon, a new judge upheld yesterday's decision to keep Diddy behind bars without bail. At Diddy's arraignment yesterday, his lawyer revealed Combs has been in treatment and therapy for things he needs treatment and therapy for. The question: would any of the disturbing allegations against Diddy have ever come to light if Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, had not filed her explosive lawsuit last year? It was settled just one day later. Then, just 4 months ago, another bombshell.
The surveillance video obtained by CNN.
Diddy and Cassie in a violent confrontation in 2016 at an LA hotel. Elizabeth Wagmeister here from CNN. She broke the story, including that video, months ago. What have you learned from sources since the indictment was handed down?
What I will say is the indictment is eerily similar to many of the civil suits. There's been 10 civil suits against Diddy, 9 of which directly accuse him of sexual assault. And many of those allegations, including drugging, including the freak-offs, including blowing up Kid Cudi's car, all of these details came up in the indictment this week. And that is what I'm hearing from sources, that the accusers feel validated, their attorneys feel validated.
How long do you expect this to go?
This could be a long road ahead. Yesterday, they said that they have met with over 50 victims and or witnesses. So there's a lot of names that are going to come up here. Christina Coram, I would imagine Diddy's sons, who have been named as defendants in other lawsuits. So this investigation continues, and they are taking it very seriously.
So great to see you. Thank you for your time.
Always great to see you, Billy.
stop. Won't stop.
Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trump reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
Currently, Mr. Trump is positioned at the 5th hole, while the shooter was reportedly waiting behind the chain-link fences in close proximity. Based on the analysis, Trump was approximately 300 to 500 yards away from the gunman at the time, which is approximately 200 to 457 meters, while the Secret Service sniper's agent were just close and around the 5th hole of the golf course along these tree line. This visual representation provides a clearer understanding of the layout and the critical distance between the 2 individuals during the incident. Now that we've understand the gunman's position, we can piece together his actions. He arrived in a black Nissan SUV and parked somewhere in the vicinity, likely choosing a discreet location to avoid drawing attention. After extensive scouting, he began searching for the ideal vantage point, carefully timing his movements. His aim was to strike at the precise moment when Mr. Trump would reach the 5th hole of the golf course. In this animation, we observe Mr. Trump traveling in a reinforced golf cart, unaware of the imminent danger. Little did he know the gunman had him in his sights, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. The assailant was armed with an AK-47 fitted with a scope to improve his accuracy. As the president stepped out of the golf cart and prepared to take his shot, a Secret Service agent noticed something suspicious. The suspect had inserted the barrel of his rifle through a gap in the chain-link fence on the outskirts of Trump International Golf Course. This took place at approximately 1:28 or 1:29 p.m. The moment the rifle barrel emerged through the chain fence, the Secret Service acted swiftly. Shots were fired at around 1:30 p.m., neutralizing the threat before the gunman could execute his plan. The suspect, identified as Ryan Wesley Routh, 58, intended to create shock and awe, capturing the entire incident on his GoPro camera. His objective was to sow division among the American people and potentially incite a civil war. Upon inspecting the sniper's location, investigators discovered 2 bags and a ceramic tile, items that may have been part of his setup or escape plan. As soon as the Secret Service agent fired at the suspect, he fled the scene. The suspect likely escaped using the same black Nissan SUV he arrived in, leaving behind the weapon and other items in his haste. It is believed that he fled via Kentucky Street in West Palm Beach, managing to evade immediate capture. He drove for approximately 30 minutes, attempting to distance himself from the scene. Eventually, law enforcement tracked him down on Highway I-95, where he was arrested and taken into custody without further incident. The swift coordination between agencies ensured that the suspect could not get far before being apprehended. Using the July assassination attempt as a case study, let's examine how they work. As stated, the Secret Service has a detail of around 20 to 30 agents for ex-presidents like Donald Trump, but this number can fluctuate depending on the situation. Closest to the principal, in this case Trump, are teams of around 5 to 7 highly trained Secret Service agents. In the 100-foot radius, that is the middle perimeter, there's usually a mix of Secret Service and local law enforcement. An armored SUV or limousine is also on standby within this middle perimeter, covering portions of the motorcade and any pre-event screening. In the outer perimeter, security largely falls to local law enforcement officers. In Butler, the building the shooter climbed was technically outside of the rally venue, and the Secret Service didn't sweep it. It fell through the cracks, which still falls to the Secret Service because it means nobody checked to ensure the plan was implemented correctly. But before we move ahead, let's map out the basic positions of all the parties involved. First, we have the former president's podium, and just beside him are 3 bleachers where a selected audience is seated. Behind them is the sniper team, which can be divided into north and south positions, located on 3 buildings. Sniper Team North is located on the first building, while on the 3rd building you can find Sniper Team South. Almost sandwiched in between are these trees, which provided some cover from the Secret Service.
Should we be worried?
Do you feel safe, Mr. President? Are you looking at any private security in addition after your two?
They have the top of the line people. They needed more people, and now they haven't. They've been given that, and I guess it's presidential level. And based on the poll numbers, I guess you have to do that. We're leading in just about every poll, and we have to be safe. But we really have to be safe for the country. That's the most important thing to me. We have to be safe for the country. A lot of progress is going to be made. It's going to be made fast, but. The Secret Service, I think they're doing a very good job. They just needed more people.
And what's your message for? What's your message for New York?
I love New York. I always love New York, and we're going to give New York a big play. You know, I leave here. I mean, you see the crowds, and it's so friendly. I love New York. But New York has a lot of problems, and we're going to make New York great again. Also, we're going to bring it back, and we're going to hopefully win. I think we have a real chance of winning with hundreds of thousands of people coming from prisons and jails and from mental institutions and dumped into New York. The people don't want that. And we'll work with your mayor and your governor, and we're going to do a lot of great things for New York. We want to do that, and we have to bring it back. We can't let this happen to New York. So unfair. To have hundreds of thousands of people dumped into the city and the state, you just can't do that. No place can sustain that.
Would that mean a lot to you since it's your home state to win New York?
Well, I'd love to win New York. It hasn't been won in many, many decades by a Republican, but this time it should be won by, this is a Republican that loves it, that lived here for many, many years. And, you know, I'm all about New York. We have to bring New York back. And we're going to. Hopefully we're going to win New York. I mean, we're here because we want to win New York. And I think that's going to happen. Okay? Thanks so much.
President Trump, we as Bitcoin fanatics here in New York, we love this point. Which one's your impression? What's your impression of
I think it's a great place. I just made the first transaction in Bitcoin. We appreciate that. Everybody that's a crypto guy, crypto maniac as I call them, because they really are. They believe. Everybody, whether it's Bitcoin but crypto, get out and vote. Because if you vote, we cannot lose. We cannot lose. We want to get everybody that agrees with you people, what you're doing, and a lot of people. There's a big lot of people, and you know they've been treating you very badly at the SEC, etc. And we're going to treat you very fairly. You have to get out and vote. Okay?
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yes.
We'll make crypto.
And it's pretty easy to use, right? It was fairly easy to make that payment.
It was very easy. Yeah. No, it was quickly and beautifully. It's going to be great. It's the beginning of a new era, actually. I mean, if you think about it, it's what they've done is so amazing over a short period of time.
We appreciate that.
You look at the values and you look at the kind of numbers they're talking about, bigger than the biggest corporations in the world put together, many of them. Yeah. So it's quite something.
That would be great. And the menu, and we have some. It's National Cheeseburger Day, evidently.
Oh, I love it.
So we got some burgers and Diet Cokes if you want to.
Best burger in the city. David's doing a good job, everybody.
Mr. Bailey? Yeah.
He's doing a good job. He got this whole thing started.
Little menu?
Did you like one? You want a hamburger? Good. How's that nice?
That's perfect. Amazing. And one more right here would be fantastic if you don't mind, and then we have some gifts for you.
Okay? I want Bitcoin. Okay, you got it.
We appreciate your open-mindedness. Thank you so much for coming here. We really appreciate it.
It's a new era, and that's what's happening. It's amazing to see what's happened in such a short period of time. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Mr. President.
Men wish death upon me. Blood in my ear, red like my red leaves. The president is what I'm destined to be, but Democrats trying to take my life away.
Donald Trump is a convicted felon.
A convicted felon, convicted felon, a convicted felon, a convicted felon.
Convicted felon, convicted felon.
A convicted felon.
A convicted felon.
Convicted as a felon. Convicted felon.
He is now a convicted felon.
Convicted felon.
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 Is that a picture that they're going to be proud to show their grandkids someday? That they're standing behind a convicted felon?
Here's something I bet you didn't know. So it's 1948, and the Cold War is chillier than a polar bear's toenails. The CIA, America's spy squad, decides it's time to play puppet master with the media. Enter Frank Wisner, the man with a plan to control the narrative. Wisner creates Operation Mockingbird, a program that's like a Hollywood script but in real life. The goal? To influence the domestic American media. It's like the CIA's version of a PR firm. The cast of characters is straight out of a spy novel. Philip Graham of The Washington Post is recruited to run the project within the industry. He's like the director of a blockbuster, but the movie is the evening news. By the early 1950s, Wisner owns big names in the media. New York Times, Newsweek, CBS, you name it. It's like the CIA has the ultimate press pass, with journalists and media moguls dancing to their tune. The plot thickens when Alan W. Dulles becomes the CIA's big boss. Under his watch, Operation Mockingbird spreads its wings over 25 newspapers and wire agencies. It's like the CIA is playing a game of Monopoly, but the properties are news outlets. But here's the kicker. The CIA is not just influencing news, they're funding Hollywood productions like Animal Farm. It's like Tinseltown got a new producer, and it's Uncle Sam wearing shades and a trench coat. Fast forward, and the scandal breaks. The public's reaction? A mix of shock and I knew it. The aftermath leads to congressional investigations, policy changes, media responses, and more. Thankfully, in the end, our media today is propaganda-free and clean as a whistle, no longer controlled or manipulated. Or is it?
Wow. You can't make this ish up. Even the press isn't safe.
You know, it's really interesting how easily you can find shit on the internet, especially a post from Kamala Harris back in 2020 on X, aka Twitter at that time. So one might ask themselves how deep this rabbit hole with P. Diddy in the music industry really goes. And when you see things like this, you start to realize it goes pretty damn deep. As you can see earlier this year, Diddy himself called in the legal big guns for his court case, hiring Bobby Sternheim to replace New York City attorney Jonathan Davis to represent him in court. Now, Sternheim previously made headlines for allegedly defending Ghislaine Maxwell, you know, the associate of Epstein, the woman that ironically still has yet to have anything happen to her. So it makes you wonder who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes, right? And in a recent video, I did a full deep dive on everything that you need to know. The dark side of the music industry, the corruption that has existed behind the veil of lies of which our leaders themselves have created to deceive you. The full-fledged, uncensored truth. And I did it in a manner of which can't be taken down by TikTok, right? Because there's a little cheat code that TikTok doesn't tell you about that exists on TikTok, right? And it's called subscriber-only content, which according to their policies cannot violate any of TikTok's guidelines. It is literally privatized content. And for me to actually post something like that, especially on TikTok, I had to put it on my subscriber-only content. So I'm asking you, if you truly want to open your eyes, if you truly want to support a creator that truly goes all out, okay? Please go subscribe to me because it's literally only $2.99. And I understand that a lot of people might be hesitating to do that, but just know I'm one of very few that actually do what I do, okay? I go full into detail about what exists out there and what you need to know. For the past 6 to 8 months, I have released countless content that truly opens up people's eyes. And see, my mission at hand is to truly enlighten people of the darkness that exists behind that veil of lies of which I mentioned. And now I'm in a situation of which I've had every single sponsor taken away from me, every single partnership taken away from me, every single method of providing financial stability for myself and my family. Or you can go follow me on X instead, because I'll be posting those videos on X as well. But a lot of people don't want to have an X account because of Elon Musk, and I understand that completely. But just know, this is literally my career, okay? This is what I love doing. I love enlightening people and opening up their eyes. Because I myself come from a very dark ancestry. A lot of people still somehow don't know this, even though I posted 3 videos throughout the past couple of months. But I am one of 6 grandchildren of Larry Fink. Yes, the CEO of BlackRock. I get it. A lot of people might feel uneasy by that. But see, I'm what you would call black sheep, right? Me and my sister have TikToks of our own on here. And our true goal is to truly open up people's eyes of what's to come and what has already happened before. I've talked about some very serious ass shit, so I feel like I deserve to be invested in. I have 460,000 of you that follow me. And if I could just get 2,000 to 5,000 of you to go to subscribe to me, I can continue to do what you want me to do. So once again, if you love my content, if you love what I do, if you love what I have to present for you, go subscribe to me, because I can promise you, I can guarantee you that that unrestricted content will not let you down.
We really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both for being here. And yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family, and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently far more elusive than it's been. And we need to deal with that. And there are a number of ways. One is bringing down the cost of everyday necessities, including groceries. So that's why I'm taking on, for example, price gouging, which is when, most companies and corporations are good, but for those bad ones, they take advantage of people, especially during a pandemic or extreme weather, and they end up jacking up prices, and there needs to be accountability and consequence for that. So I'm going to be taking on price gouging. But it's also about dealing with what we need to do around home ownership, right? So as someone mentioned during this film, look, I grew up a child of a mother who worked very hard. She raised me and my sister, and she saved up, and by the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy a home. And we grew up actually for a long time in an apartment on top of a child care center that was owned by the woman we called our second mother because she helped my mother raise us. And she was a small business owner, Miss Shelton. So I'll bring all this together to tell you the way I think about it is, one, when people work hard and have a dream of buying a home, we should give you the opportunity to be able to do that, which is why part of my plan is for first-time homeowners, buyers, to have a $25,000 down payment assistance to buy your first home. Because people just need to be able to get their foot in the door, and then you'll do the hard work. Part of my plan is what we need to do to support small businesses, because my second mother was a small business owner, and I love our small businesses and our small business owners. They are not only business leaders, they are community leaders. They mentor, they hire locally, and we have so many entrepreneurs in our country who have great ideas, incredible work ethic, but not necessarily access to capital, because not everybody, like my opponent, was handed $400 million on a silver plate that he filed bankruptcy 6 times on. And so part of my plan is to give startup small businesses a $50,000 tax deduction to start up their small business. Right now it's $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So that's part of my plan.
That's a teeny tiny business.
That's a business in
teeny tiny business.
It's a concept of a business, right?
Yes.
You know where I'm going. That's right. And
it's still on paper with the $5,000.
Right.
It's still on paper.
It just hasn't happened,
right?
Part of to speak to you guys and your family and your dreams is what we need to do around giving middle-class families tax breaks. And so part of my plan is also to extend and expand the child tax credit to $6,000 so that you can, in the first year of your child's life, have the resources to be able to buy a crib and a car seat and clothes for your baby, knowing that's such an extraordinarily important time in their development, and you shouldn't have to worry about how you're going to take care of their basic needs. All of this and more is part of what I plan to build, and I call it an opportunity economy. And it's basically about creating opportunities, knowing so many people have the ambition, have the aspirations, are working hard, but just need opportunity to reach their goals and their dreams.
I saw you smiling with that $25,000 credit for the home. I saw that smile on your face and the $6,000. Thank you all.
And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us. Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that. That's how we came into being. Because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism, is to fight for the ideals of who we are.
Then shut the fuck up in 2020. You sound dumb.
It's a good question. So a couple of things. Community, about self-awareness. But you know, as far as we can be concerned as a nation, well, when you ask a question like that, you need to consider all the modalities. The modalities, whether they're neutral or they're coveted in a bunch of lies. That's concerning. That is, that is quite concerning. So when you bring up tropes of lies, you're bringing up a lot more than that. You're bringing in a conversation that nobody really wants to have. But I have the will to have that conversation. I can snatch your wills away right now.
Let's talk Robert Maxwell and video games. And for anybody doubting the seriousness of this video, I'm just gonna say I'm of sound body and mind, a happy father, and I have no reason to do anything crazy or disappear at all. So with that being said, are you ready? And as always, this is for entertainment value only, because I know absolutely nothing. I'm just making this stuff up. Now this tangled web has many rabbit holes in it. The game of Tetris being one of them. But in a nutshell, the game was invented in the Soviet Union, and there was a challenge to get the copyrights to get it out. And considering the ties that old Robert here had, it's no surprise that he won.
And Maxwell was someone who wants power, who wants influence, who wants wealth, who wants to change the world. He goes across the Russians, declares himself, gets on very well with them, and establishes good connections. He becomes a KGB agent.
And some people think that Maxwell's ties and the way he handled acquiring Tetris led to a lot of things. Including his accident. Now Maxwell's company that acquired Tetris was this one here, Spectrum Holobyte. Now Spectrum produced a lot of games, and in doing so, Maxwell hired a certain game designer and took him under his wing. And that's this man here. I'm just gonna call him G. Now G here designed the first flight simulator that the Air Force used to train their pilots.
Joining us now is Gilman Louie, CEO of Spectrum Holobyte, and next to Gilman, Wild Bill Steely, president and co-founder of Microbros. Jen?
Gilman, there's lots of different flight simulators out nowadays. Now, you've got one called Falcon AT. Tell us what's special about that.
Well, Falcon is a simulation of an F-16 fighter aircraft. And what's special about this particular program is we use realistic heads-up displays, realistic radars and flight models. In fact, F-16 Falcon is the first program that's actually being used by the Air Force to train pilots.
Heads-up display means what?
Heads-up.
Now G did accomplish quite a few things before Maxwell's passing, but it's pretty undeniable that it was the thing that launched his career.
So the Russians decided that there was going to be a lot of money into this thing. And because Nintendo wanted it for the Game Boy. And my parent company at that time, we were owned by the Maxwell Corporation.
Now since then, G here has had many titles, including being named CEO of Looking Glass, the cybersecurity company, as well as being named a member of the Intelligence Advisory Board. I mean, this is the guy whose investment firm brought us things like Twitch, Pokemon Go. But his most interesting title over the years was co-founder and CEO of an investment company called In-Q-Tel. And if you don't know what In-Q-Tel is, well, let's just say it was started by a very interesting group of people.
Very nice 1999, the CIA launched Intel with $28 million in order to take advantage of new technologies which would not normally want to associate themselves with the government. But by reversing the process and assisting entrepreneurs, Intel focused on innovation and entrepreneurship rather than making quick money or putting pressure on businesses. This then helps the national security effort adapt.
And I'm sure it comes as no surprise to most of us that that company invested in some very interesting things like spycraft. Remember a couple years ago when they were trying to bring the woolly mammoth back? They've even invested in lab-grown, even IG and Twitter. Pretty interesting road for a man who currently sits as the Commissioner for the National Security of Artificial Intelligence. Y'all stay safe.
What do you think? Smash the like and drop a comment below.
So in 1973, during the Church Committee hearings, we learned that the CIA had a program called Operation Mockingbird, where they had at least 400 members, leading members of the United States Press Corps, from the New York Times, the Washington Post, ABC, CBS, NBC, etc., who were secretly working for the agency and steering news coverage to support CIA priorities. And they agreed at that time to disband Operation Mockingbird in '73. But there's indications they didn't do that. And the CIA today is the biggest funder of journalism around the world. The biggest funder is through USAID. The United States funds journalism in almost every country in the world. It owns newspapers. It has journalists on it, thousands and thousands of journalists on its payroll. They're not supposed to be doing that in the United States, but, in 2016, President Obama changed the law to make it legal now for the CIA to propagandize Americans. And I think, we can't look at the Ukraine war and how that was, how the narrative has been formed in the minds of Americans and say that the CIA had nothing to do with that.
My head is spinning right now. How about you?
Hey, what's up, Yogi? Oh, hi. Hey there. Did you hear the news? You talking about how Israel just attacked Lebanon with the biggest strike yet on Beirut, targeting Hezbollah leaders, with some people saying this is the start of a whole new chapter to war. God, who was that guy that said they were going to go into Lebanon next? Oh, it was me. Right. Anyways, no, not what I'm referring to, bro. Vladimir Putin urging Russian citizens to have sex on work breaks in order to deal with their dwindling population? Nah. Indian-born owner of the Bulgarian company selling pagers to Hezbollah has gone missing? Nah. Chechen warlord accuses Elon Musk of remotely disabling his Cybertruck? Ukraine bans use of Telegram over fears of Russian spying? Negatory. Well, what then? There's a clip of Ashton Kutcher talking about P. Diddy's parties on Hot Ones. Talk about a spicy chick. Hey.
Remember, these videos are for entertainment purposes only.
Gay or NFL. 36 have been accused of spousal abuse. 7 have been arrested for fraud. 19 have been accused of writing bad checks. 117 have directly or indirectly been bankrupted at least 2 businesses. 3 have done time for assault. 71, I repeat, 71 cannot get a credit card due to their bad credit. 14 have been arrested on drug-related charges. 8 have been arrested for shoplifting. 21 currently are defendants in lawsuits, and 84 have been arrested for drunk driving in the last year. How many of you think NBA? How many of you think NFL? Well, the answer is neither. It's the 435 members of the United States Congress.
Well, look at there who's standing behind Gavin Newsom. Hannity from the Fox show. Shaking hands and all that. Sound like to me they're all sleeping in the same bed.
Well, that's it for today, folks. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment with suggestions of what you would like and videos you would like to see. Until next time, fam.